The second bit of advice that I want to share with you about the month of Ramadan, again, because keeping in mind that there's all kinds of audiences that are listening to this talk, and you have different family situations, social situations that I can't even imagine. But I do want to make an educated guess that a lot of you belong to families where there are significant family members that aren't interested in religion. They're not very quote-unquote religious. And they don't necessarily care for learning the religion more, learning Islam more, or worshiping more. But even those kinds of members of the family, when it comes to Ramadan, they kind of turn towards the deen a little more than usual. I mean, the most they'll become religious will be in this month. And I see that as a golden opportunity, not to complain about those people. Usually what happens in the khutbah is in the Eid khutbah or in the last khutbah of Ramadan, the khatib is angry at the crowd and says, don't just come here every Ramadan and then disappear. Come here every single night of the prayer or whatever. I only see you at the Eid prayer, etc., etc. Instead of using that as an opportunity to vent your frustrations, in fact, that's an opportunity to invite people as guests. These people have come. They don't normally come, so the fact that they even show up is a favor. It's not something we should complain about. We should look at it the other way. These are people that otherwise have little or nothing to do with the faith now. They're barely holding on to the faith. So take it as an opportunity to invite them. I know they're going to set up. That's okay, don't worry about it. Sorry guys, interruption in the middle. Sorry. I know Sajid, Asif. Okay. So what I wanted to tell you then is, in your family, if you have a hard time bringing up deen, bringing up a religious conversation, maybe the value, the beauty of prayer, maybe something you recited from the Qur'an, or you heard something being explained about the Qur'an that you found particularly beautiful, Ramadan is a really nice opportunity when you go over to iftare at your cousin's house, and you go get invited to that friend's house, or you invite them over to your house, when you never actually get a healthy opportunity to talk about the religion. Now you get an opportunity. Now you've got a disarmed, a non-confrontational opportunity to speak to your friends and family in a way that's not going to create an argument. You don't want to have arguments and debates in Ramadan. Don't fall into those debates. And don't allow those debates to become dominant in your conversation with others. Ramadan is about getting closer to Allah and maybe doing your part in helping somebody else get closer to Allah. What you've come to appreciate, you help somebody else appreciate alongside you, right? That's what you want to be able to do. So on that note, I want to take you to my third and my final bit of advice that, again, I think applies to myself, and I'd like to share that with you also, inshallah. And that is that, when you talk to folks, you're going to get an opportunity to interact with folks in Ramadan that you don't normally see the rest of the year. Or you don't, like I said, you don't normally get to talk to them about the religion the rest of the year. But you know what, those kinds of people, they have all kinds of interesting and weird opinions about Islam. And they're members of your family. It could be your uncle, it could be your cousin, it could be your grandfather or whatever. So when you do talk about the deen, they'll bring up these tangent, weird ideas of theirs, and then they'll ask you your opinion about them. They'll start, maybe one of your relatives will start criticizing, hadith is all made up, what does that mean anyway? We should just follow the Qur'an. Or some other will say, well, the Qur'an talks about alcohol, but, it's not the same as beer, so it's okay. And you'll be sitting there going, what are you talking about? Why are you talking like this? And it'll make you upset, because obviously these are some very basic things in the religion, and these people are bringing them up almost as a joke. Or they're bringing up really absurd, ridiculous understandings of the religion that can boil your blood. Here I'm particularly talking to the young in the audience that feel like they have to defend the faith at any cost, even if it means severing family ties. That's the point where you have to put the brakes on your tongue, hold yourself back, and allow the conversation to be steered back in a good direction. I just wanted to talk about getting closer to Allah. I just wanted to talk about how great I felt, how great the recitation of Qur'an was the other night. Change the subject. Don't go into debates. Don't go into religious arguments. This is not the month to do it. That's not the time to do it. Everybody should walk away with a good taste in their mouth after a conversation about deen in this month. Yes, those issues should be hashed out and they should be discussed, but you find another time to do them. This shaitan is out of the picture right now. These people are ripe for da'wah, and that will entirely depend on your mannerism and your patience and your courtesy with them in trying to deliver that message. And some of the sisters that are listening right now will have to do that with their husbands who are averse to the religion. There are some husbands whose wives don't really like anything to do with Islam. You know, they think like you've become too religious. This will be the opportunity to soften those hearts. There may be your parents. Your parents think you become too religious. You're a fanatic, you know, and they're upset with you. They criticize you all the time. And this will be a chance for you to not respond to those things like, you know, impulsively and become reactionary, but rather to be very, very patient, very calm in your reaction to them, and keep the atmosphere positive and good. Another bit of advice that's tied to this was with family, another bit of advice is with friends. All of us have friends that aren't very religious. Or maybe they're, you know, old friends from college or even high school, or, you know, they're friends now, and you keep in touch, but you don't really, if you do talk about things, then maybe you talk about sports, you talk about a movie that just came out, you talk about video games, whatever you talk about, you don't talk about deen. This is the month to try to invite one of your friends, hey, come over for iftar, let's go to the masjid and pray. And just, you know, hang out with them. And just pray, even you don't last the entire 20, just go for Isha and bring them back or something. And you don't even have to preach a word, just try to bring them into that environment. Just that environment, and then let Allah do the rest. Maybe they'll just being in a masjid after so long will do something to their heart. It happens, it really does. So you and I are not in charge of changing people's hearts, but we can certainly try to bring them to a good, positive environment. And then if there's goodness in them, and I'm sure there is, it's going to flourish. Allah will allow it to flourish, subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the month to try and do that, to mend family ties, to help friends come to closer or better company.
اللهم اختم لنا شهر رمضان برضوانك وجد علينا بمنك وامتنانك اللهم لا تبطل أعمالنا وامح سيئاتنا يا رب العالمين.